Welcome to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe in studios of our flagship stations, 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV, on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99, where you can also find us in the Birmingham-Bloomfield area, on Birmingham Area Municipal Access, and on City Cable 15 of Southfield. Join us live on Channel 10 in Waterford every day on the Media Network of Waterford, and live to tape on Channel 10 in Orion Township and Lake Orion on Orion Neighborhood Television, or ONTV as they call it out there. You can also find us on the radio in the Birmingham, Bloomfield, and Troy areas on 88.1, the BIF, a service of the Bloomfield Hills School District with full-time operations 24/7 out of Bloomfield Hills High School. Find us online on our Facebook pages at Civic Center TV 15 and at Lakes FM, on our website at civiccentertv.com, and on My Michigan TV, or MyMy, at mymytv.com. That's MYMITV.com, where you can also learn more about downloading their free MyMyTV apps for your smartphones and smart TVs. All of that information is on our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll also find information on all of our programs, find them on demand, and find each individual interview as well, so you can watch the Megacast at your own leisure. Then let's head over to our coronavirus page, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, where we have links to the most up-to-date information on COVID-19 from reliable expert resources at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and the Oakland County Health Division, so that you can stay up to date on everything that you need to know about the spread of COVID-19, precautionary tactics that you may or may not need to employ in your daily life, as well as more information on vaccinations and booster shots available in your area. Also on our coronavirus page at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, we feature articles from many different publications and other journalistic outlets throughout the state of Michigan in order to keep you up to date on COVID-19 and other stories making headlines here in the Great Lakes state. Our top story today from the Detroit News: Michigan adds 14,482 cases and 67 deaths from COVID-19 over the past week. Michigan added those numbers on Wednesday, including totals from the previous 6 days. The state reported an average of 2,069 cases per day over the past 6 days. That's an increase from last week's metrics, which were averaging out at about 1,496 cases per day. Wednesday's additions bring the state's overall total to 2,425,946 cases and 36,002 deaths since the virus was first detected here in Michigan in March of 2020. After declining for nearly 3 months, hospitalizations and case rates in Michigan are once again increasing for the third straight week. Cases are also on the rise as well. This week's additions are an increase from last week, when the state added 10,474 cases and 78 deaths from the virus. The previous week, on April 13th, Michigan added just 7,725 cases and 81 deaths from the virus. Between April 18th through 24th, about 7.8% of Michigan's COVID-19 tests had returned positive, compared to 5% in the week prior. There's an average of 11,500 weekly cases in the state of Michigan. The latest figures come out as the state and several Michigan counties have relaxed regulations to stem the spread of the virus. And on Monday, the state reported 511 adults and 15 pediatric patients hospitalized with the virus and confirmed infections, and 78% of the state's inpatient hospital beds having been occupied. It's a steep decline from when records were set on January 10th, when 4,580 adults were hospitalized with COVID-19. About 3.5% of the state's hospital beds were filled with COVID patients, and there were an average of about 1,140 emergency room visits related to COVID-19 per day in the state as of Monday. That compares to 24% of hospital beds full and 2,889 daily emergency room visits due to the virus in the first week of January of 2022. However, 5 Michigan counties remain at a quote-unquote high level for increased burden on healthcare or severe disease. Those are Alcona, Alpena, Montmorency, Presque Isle, and Washtenaw counties, according to the state health department. Case counts are well below early January, when the state set a new high watermark with more than 20,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 per day. In Michigan, variants of the virus have moved at a high rate, proving more contagious than past variants and infecting both the unvaccinated and vaccinated residents. A new iteration of the Omicron variant, BA2, is now dominant across Michigan and the country, but experts say another surge of cases is unlikely. The Food and Drug Administration expanded its approval of remdesivir this week, making it the first COVID-19 treatment available for children under the age of 12. In Michigan, 290 cases of multisystem inflammatory syndrome, or MIS-C, in children, a virus that stems from COVID-19, has been reported to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. About 65% of those kids with complications are admitted to intensive care units, and there have been 5 deaths total. Earlier this month, Philadelphia became the first major city to reinstate indoor mask mandates as cases rose more than 50% higher than the 10 days prior. The city is now averaging 1,495 cases per day. That is just in Philadelphia alone. In Michigan, residents ages 30 to 39 currently have the highest rate of any age group in terms of new cases of COVID-19. As of Monday, 50 new outbreaks were reported from the prior week. The majority, 24 outbreaks, were in long-term care facilities and senior assisted living centers, with 15 outbreaks in K-12 schools. The state is tracking 135 ongoing outbreak cases. About 66%, or 6.6 million state residents, have received at least their first dose of a vaccine, and 60% are fully vaccinated. More than 231,000 children ages 5 to 11, or about 26% of those in that age group, have received at least their first dose of the vaccine. That full article from the Detroit News on our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. Also making headlines, Moderna is seeking the okay from the FDA for emergency use of its COVID-19 vaccine in kids 6 months to under 6 years old. Moderna has submitted a request for emergency use authorization for its COVID-19 vaccine for children aging 6 months to 5 years old, the company announced on Thursday morning. In the company's study of 6,700 kids in the 6-month to under 6-year-old age group, researchers found after receiving 2 25 microgram doses of the vaccine that they developed levels of virus-fighting antibodies comparable to young adults who received 2 doses of the full-strength 100 microgram shot. In the phase 3 study, which took place during the Omicron wave, researchers found the vaccine was 51% effective among children 6 months to under 2, and 37% effective among children 2 to 6 years old, 2 to under 6 years old. The company's chief medical officer, Dr. Paul Burton, told the USA Today effectiveness may be less in older groups because of their changing immune system. Quote, 51%, while less than what we are used to seeing, is a level that says you certainly have great protection against severe disease and hospitalization, he said. Continuing on, quote, the antibody result that we have is what we saw in the 12 to 24-year-old category, and we know that group. In that group, we have a strong protection against severe disease. While other countries already allow Moderna's vaccine to be used in children as young as 6, the U.S. has limited the company's shots to just adults. Only Pfizer-BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine is allowed in the U.S. for use in teens and children as young as 5. Moderna has requests pending with the FDA for emergency use authorization for 6 to 11-year-olds and 12 to 17-year-olds as well. The request to expand its shots to the adolescent group have been stalled since June because of an agency concern about a possible, very rare heart inflammation side effect. Moderna says its original adult dose is safe and effective for this age group, and recently submitted a follow-up of its clinical safety and efficacy data at the FDA's request, which is being reviewed. That full article from our friends over at the Detroit Free Press, also on our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. Lastly, making headlines from Bridge, Michigan. Really extensive and really interesting article about how businesses in the Upper Peninsula are working to attract staff for their summer positions. Some of them are buying houses and offering affordable rent to these potential employees to try to lure them into these positions for over the summer season. Housing shortages aren't new in northern Michigan, where business leaders, elected officials, and nonprofits keep ratcheting up pressure to solve it. Yet prices keep climbing and new homes are coming slowly. But this summer, as tourism peaks and prepares to send billions of dollars into the state economy, northern Michigan stands to lose as the red-hot housing market, driven in part by vacation rentals, collides with workforce shortages. The result is so few affordable temporary housing options that many employers are finding their own solutions to these issues. Cherry Republic is spending $75,000 to add 3 bedrooms to the basement of a house it bought about 10 miles from its campus in Glen Arbor. And it renovated 2 mobile homes that neighboring Anderson's Market will use for its summer staff. Neighbors around Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore Park are being asked to rent rooms to summer workers, as 1.7 million visitors are expected in July and August. Businesses are signing deals for season-long space at campgrounds so that they can attract traveling workers with RVs, or like Schmidt and Stormcloud, borrow them for staff. Short's Brewery in Bel Air last week bought a 26-room motel to convert to worker housing. These examples and more show that Michigan's seasonal economy risks stalling as summer housing disappears for the critical temporary workforce, which numbers in the thousands. Quote, "It's just unrealistic to think seasonal workers can afford what the going rate is for renting to tourists," says Schmidt, co-owner of the brewery. Quote, "They can't do it," and closed quote. A shortage of workers is the top concern among northern Michigan businesses, says Warren Call, president and CEO of the Traverse Connect Regional Economic Developers. Quote, "And the reason they point to is housing," and end quote. Estimates from Housing North, a regional nonprofit advocating for housing solutions across 10 counties in the northern Lower Peninsula from Manistee to the Mackinac Bridge, says the region will be short 15,500 units by 2025. No one is tracking the lack of seasonal housing, but experts say, too, that is also reaching a critical point. In the housing market, the Rare Bird Brew Pub in downtown Traverse City struggled to hire enough staff in the summer of 2021, and co-owner Tina Schuett thought that she came up with a great answer for this year: buying a place where her workers could live. Housing, she said, quote, "is just a bottleneck," and closed quote, for most problems facing businesses in the area. So for this summer, she decided to look in town for a house with up to 5 bedrooms, or a duplex, or even a small apartment building. She found prices that she called astronomical. They were so high that Schuett, with her budget of up to $500,000, never even found a realtor to help her get serious about the search. Quote, "We can't purchase it for a decent price," she said. "We can't rent it for a decent price either," and close quote. So she said, quote, "It all just kind of got pushed to the side once we realized it just wasn't attainable," and closed quote. The average rental rate in the fast-growing Grand Traverse County left 16.1% from 2019, now at $1,388 a month. It's the second most expensive place to rent housing in the state, behind Washtenaw County, which includes Ann Arbor, and is 6% more at $1,475 per month, according to recent data from the Washington Post. The statewide average in Michigan is $1,206, according to rent.com. So here are some business solutions to these issues. Cherry Republic, that we mentioned earlier, like a lot of employers that need seasonal workers, more seasonal workers than it can find, is turning to international students under a federal visa program. But as competition for those workers grows, landing temporary staff from other countries, including international students who can work for the summer, can't be taken for granted. Crystal Mountain Resort in Thompsonville, just southwest of Traverse City, also has offered housing for several years, and it too is expanding this year to fill its openings as well. Then there's Short's and the Bel Air Inn. Community development is a passion for Joe Short, who hopes to build a mixed-use building across from his eponymous pub in Bel Air, a village of 1,000 people in Antrim County, just east of Torch Lake and Grand Traverse Bay. He also owns the property, including the wine store and the pharmacy, and the vacant land used most recently as a pavilion shelter by former shipping containers. He also owns the town's post office. Quote, "That was a purchase that wasn't really something we pursued. It was something that somebody reached out to us, and they felt like we would be proper stewards of that property," he told Bridge, Michigan. His latest purchase also wasn't planned. The founder and owner of Short's Brewery bought the 26-room Bel Air Inn last week. The purchase came after Short once again considered how summer recruiting might go. During the pandemic, the brewery cut hours amid a staff shortage, a move that kept people from having to work 60 to 70 hours per week, he said. He could face hours cuts again at a time when customers line up to get into the brewery. The goal for the motel is to use it this summer, charging $495 per month, then convert some of the rooms into year-round apartments. He hopes for the hotel purchase for an undisclosed price can pay for itself so that the brewery revenue can support its core operations. But he said, quote, "If you don't have workers, you can't operate. So it's kind of a necessary evil." That full article, and there's so much more detail in this article than we can even go over. We don't have time for it at this moment in time, but you can view this full article and read all those details by going to civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, clicking on the link to this article, clicking on the thumbnail to this article, and all of our other articles today. And we also highly encourage you to click on those links from the CDC, the NBHHS, and the Oakland County Health Division to stay up to date on everything that you need to know about COVID-19. We have a great program ahead on this Thursday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. Coming up next, we'll talk to Wendy Bice from the Society of Active Retirees, and then after that, we'll speak with the medical director of the Oakland County Health Division, Dr. Russell Faust. That's all up next. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. when you don't know where to turn. Let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
We may come from different organizations.
But we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Most of the pollution that goes into our rivers is carried by rainwater that flows off of roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
The leaves and bark of a single tree can retain a surprising amount of rainwater. Depending on its size and species, it could be 100 gallons or more.
It is estimated that an urban forest can reduce annual runoff by up to 7%.
Here's one thing that we know can help keep our water clean.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior.
These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance.
They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different.
One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games?
Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate.
So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all? You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Whatever gets you talking.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. Learn more about the program on civiccentertv.com/Megacast, where you'll also find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now is the interim executive director of SOAR, Wendy Bice. SOAR stands for the Society of Active Retirees. Wendy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So first off, can you tell us about the Society of Active Retirees? What does your organization do? Who does it serve in our communities?
SOAR is recently went through a name change. We are now called SOAR Lifelong Learning. We are a institute for older adults of any age, 50 and better, we say, who want to continue to explore and discover and keep their minds active. So we offer 3 semesters a year of classes. In total, we offer somewhere around 125 classes a year. Each class is a one-off, so it's an hour to an hour and a half. It's a lecture style class, and about half of our classes are on Zoom right now and half are in person in Farmington Hills at the Hawk Community Center.
And so Wendy, can you talk about the importance of maintaining activity, particularly mental activity and social activity for retirees who are often seniors who are later on in their life, and so the aging process has taken a toll on their brains, on their memories, and when they're not necessarily activated on a daily basis or so consistently with work or with other necessary activities that are are more of a practice in your working career life, that can take a toll. So talk about the importance of maintaining that activity and how your organization helps these retirees maintain their mental and physiological health through that activity.
So when SOAR was founded, actually it dates to the 1990s, older adults were retiring and looking for activity. And SOAR was founded on the principle that just because you're retired, you're not, you're no longer, you're still viable. You still have a chance to grow and learn and discover. But now people are not retiring at 65 necessarily. And even when they're retired, they're not, you're not sitting in a chair immobile. You're still viable, we hope, mentally and maybe physically, maybe not moving as fast. Maybe your days are shorter, but you're still a person who has a lot to offer and can still take that time to grow and to learn and to discover and to meet new people. As empty nesters, our kids probably some are local, some are moved away. Some of us don't have grandkids yet. We're looking for social connections. So not only do these classes help stimulate thought and encourage discussion, but they're also really important for social connections, even over Zoom. We always have a question and answer period. We are back to a modified in-person schedule. We have small group activities. We'll start again up with field trips soon. But I think, as a person who is over age 60, or we say 55 or better, there's no way I'm done. I'm learning, I'm growing, and as are my friends and family members. So just because you hit a certain age doesn't mean you are no longer viable and no longer have a lot to contribute.
Has the COVID-19 pandemic played a factor in pushing that message and pushing that goal of your organization to maintain that activity for these seniors? Because I would imagine it even has a greater impact on those that are retired and maybe aren't working during the week or are consistently socializing during the week in person because they have to be in their homes to protect themselves from this virus over that 2-year period. How did the COVID-19 pandemic play into your organization's work to support these seniors, not only in their social life and keeping them active, but to maintain that goal of providing these activities and providing these outlets, albeit in a safe environment given the circumstances of the world?
I think COVID-19 shocked all of us into realizing how devastating isolation can be, and especially for older adults. So in our case, we were able to transition rather quickly. We did miss one of our semesters, but we transitioned quickly to Zoom, and we were able to get all of our members who wished back online and engaging with us through Zoom. So perhaps it was a husband and wife or 2 roommates who were isolated at home. Now they had kind of another outlet to feel a little bit more connected to the community. And so in SOAR's case, it really accelerated one of our goals, which was to use technology to reach older adults who are not necessarily physically or geographically able to attend our classes in person. So now with this modified model we have of half of our classes on Zoom and the other half in person, and we're trying to record most of our classes and bring those to our members through YouTube, we really can offer anybody anywhere access to our content and our programs.
So as you mentioned, we're joined by Wendy Bice, the Interim Executive Director of the Society of Active Retirees Lifelong Learning Institute, joining us on the Megacast More information can be found on their website, which is soarexplore.com. That is soarexplore.com for more information.
SOAR.
Yes, SOAR explore.com for more information and to get in contact with the organization. And so you mentioned the classes. You have a variety of different classes for people of all different interest levels or just for some continued development of life skills in retirement. Can you talk to us a little bit about what those classes are and then go through the process of determining what those classes are going to be and how your organization develops them?
We have classes, we offer 3 semesters a year. Right now we are in the middle of our spring semester, and plans are, we almost have our fall semester set. So we would have classes ranging from art and culture, what is glass blowing, who's doing interesting work in glass or sculpture, to understanding the music of the 1950s, for example, all the way to history, to government, to current events. History is a big subject. We always have pretty good depth of options for those who love history, as well as a lot of local content. Our speakers are either active or retired professors from area universities, or active or retired professionals in their fields, or significant contributors to a certain genre. So, for example, some local historians who weren't historians in business, but have become so after their retirement, are often some of our best speakers. We, I can't remember the rest of your question. Do you want to know how someone can register?
Yeah, sure. Tell us how someone can register. Yeah.
So our website has a registration portal. We open registration usually leading into a new semester, and someone would register for a semester, and that person then becomes a member, we call them. We don't call our members students. And we are rolling out this fall a whole new registration model, so someone can become a member of SOAR and participate in some of our special events and our shared interest groups, which are very, very popular. And then they can also register for classes. So in the fall, we'll have a whole new kind of approach toward engaging with our members.
Are there any costs associated with taking these classes?
Yes, a semester is $100, and that entitles an individual to as many classes as they want. We average about 50 classes a semester. Our winter program, we call it, is actually a condensed model where we focus on one theme. So this past winter, we did 6 weeks just on the Industrial Revolution, but our spring and fall are more diverse with a whole variety of classes, and we average about 50 classes a term. We do have occasional special events through the year, and we have one coming up next week on May 6th, which is the SOAR mock trial. And that event is free and open to the public. We also have another event coming up with Jocelyn Benson that is free and open to the public as well.
We're joined by Wendy Bice, the Interim Executive Director of SOAR, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. SOAR can be found at SOARexplore.com. That's SOARexplore.com for more information. They are the Society of Active Retirees Lifelong Learning Institute, joining us on the Megacast today. So you mentioned earlier, among some of the classes are music of the 1950s, maybe one of them. You also have a book club and a film club as well. Can you tell us about those and how people can participate in those clubs?
Yeah, those are two of our shared interest groups. Shared interest groups are small group gatherings, currently all on Zoom, where the group members would read a book or watch a film or have a topic of discussion. And then they meet, the groups are usually between 15 and 20 people, and they meet with a moderator and discuss the book or the film or the topic of discussion. We have a women's issues group. We have a new group that's launching this summer called the Detective Novel. And obviously that will be all about detective novels. We have a new group that launched earlier this year called Great Decisions, where the group takes a look at some monumental decision and how it impacted our life. And they're getting ready for their second meeting this June.
We're joined by Wendy Bice, the Interim Executive Director of the Society of Active Retirees Lifelong Learning Institute, joining us on the Megacast. You mentioned also you have a mock trial coming up. That's going to be happening on Friday, May 6th at 1 p.m. It'll happen at the Hawk Community Center Auditorium located on 12 Mile Road in Farmington Hills. And it is a free event. Can you tell us about the mock trial and what people may be expecting when they see this free event on Friday, May 6th?
This is a semi-annual event. Obviously, we took a couple of years off, and we host, it's on a stage with a cast. The cast are all attorneys or judges. This year, we're exploring the question of, was Gerald Ford justified in pardoning Richard Nixon? We will have attorneys for the defense and a prosecuting attorney arguing whether Gerald Ford did the right thing in the name of peace and civility moving on, or should he have prosecuted Richard Nixon? The audience is the jury. And so after the case is presented, the audience will have a paper ballot and no chips, no electronic mishaps, but you'll fill out your paper ballot, vote guilty or not, and we will have a verdict at the end of the hour-and-a-half program. It's very popular. We have a very esteemed group of attorneys who are playing the parts. Jack Lessenberry is going to be Gerald Ford. So we're very excited. We think it is a good way to bring new friends into SOAR to participate again in a really interactive, social, but academic, thought-provoking event. And it's free.
Again, that free event, Friday, May 6th, 2022 at 1 p.m. That'll be at the Hawk Community Center Auditorium. That is located on 12 Mile Road in Farmington Hills. More information on SOARexplore.com, SOAR Explore.com. We're joined by Wendy Bice, the Interim Executive Director of the Society of Active Retirees Lifelong Learning Institute, with us on the Megacast. Wendy, before we let you go, any other SOAR events coming up, or where can people get more information or even sign up if they'd like to become a member for a semester or multiple semesters?
So as you've been graciously saying, SOARexplore.com. Our phone number is 248-626-0296. We're on Facebook and we're on LinkedIn. So join us, learn, grow, meet new people, and don't be afraid to raise your hand and ask a question. That's what we're all about.
Wendy, thank you very much for joining us.
Tyler, thank you.
Again, the website, SOARexplore.com, SOARexplore.com to get in contact and learn more about events through the Society of Active Retirees Lifelong Learning Institute. We'll take a quick break, and on the other side, we will discuss where we are at and where we are going with the COVID-19 pandemic with Dr. Russell Faust from the Oakland County Health Division. That's up next. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary. And if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
Joining us now is the Chief Medical Officer at the Oakland County Health Division, Dr. Russell Faust, back with us once again on the Oakland County Megacast. Dr. Faust, thank you for being here.
Good to see you again, Tyler. Thanks for inviting.
Yeah, good to see you as well. So the BA2 variant of COVID-19, it seems to be becoming more dominant in the U.S. as of past Wednesday. Michigan reported 3,215 new cases of COVID and 70 virus-related deaths on Wednesday. It's an average of about 643 cases over the past 5 days. At this moment in time, definitely less drastic of a COVID-19 situation than the last time we spoke. But where does Michigan and particularly Oakland County stand on the COVID-19 front at this moment in time?
Well, I think overall, we still have some pretty good news. This week, CDC reports that we are at 71 cases per 100,000 of population, which still keeps us in the low transmission category. And I think, that's where we want to remain. We're seeing just a mild up creek versus last week. But overall, we've been, in the downtrend for a couple months now. And overall, I think this is all good news. I mean, I think the thing that gives me great hope is that unlike what had been seen in Europe, say Denmark, specifically when this BA2 Omicron variant arrived there, they went into another huge surge, just an enormous surge. And we haven't been seeing that here. Omicron BA2 has been present here in Oakland County now for nearly 3 months. And the fact is, it's just kind of creeping up in terms of its takeover. It's about 70 to 75% of all the cases right now in Oakland and across state. But the fact is, we're not seeing that surge. And I speculate that the reason is most of us have already had COVID, or we are fully vaccinated for COVID. And so our level of immunity in the community is very high. And I think what we're seeing is whereas people are still transmitting at a low level, people are not really getting that ill. Now, having said that, this is not yet endemic. That is, it's not like influenza, which is just everywhere. COVID is still killing people. People are still dying at about 10 times the rate they do for the other respiratory viruses, including influenza or flu. So this is still a dangerous virus, and we still need to take precautions. A mask when you're out in public. I'm hopeful now. I'm very optimistic now that we're headed into warm weather that we can take a lot of our meetings outdoors. We can open the windows and ventilate our offices when we do have meetings. I think overall, we're in a very good place right now in Michigan, in the country, and especially in Oakland County.
So we previously, last time we had you on, we were in the middle of a COVID-19 surge with the Omicron variant. At that time, statistical models from the medical community were showing an expectation that that surge was going to at some point taper off and then dramatically reduce. That model has seemed to have come to fruition at this moment in time. Where are those statistical models at now for our near future? And I would presume they probably don't go as far as next fall, but I would also imagine that next fall, as the weather starts to get cooler, that would be the next time potentially, if we don't reach an endemic stage by that point, which is not all too far away temporally, that could be the next choke point of this pandemic where surging cases could become a problem. Where do the models show us going with COVID-19 at this point?
I think the good news is that we have been a surprise to the models. Most of the models are based on what we see kind of headed this way. We're able to predict, we're able to model things based on what happens, say, in Europe or in Australia or South America or the UK specifically. And we're not seeing that. So I think we are now in a surprise phase, and that the models predicted that when Omicron BA2 hit here, that we would be surging again, and we're just not. So again, I'm cautiously optimistic in that, as we move through the summer months, we'll continue to at least stabilize, plateau, if not continue a downtrend. I am concerned for next fall because human nature is, we see some good signs like this, and everybody thinks, no, we're out of this pandemic. start to celebrate, not wear a mask, not maintain distance, not wash our hands, not take those usual, mitigating actions. And we may be in trouble again when school comes back in next fall. But I do want to emphasize, we've had little minor blips. We here at Oakland County are one of the many kind of nodes on the network where our laboratory is sampling wastewater in the community. Wastewater is just a euphemism for sewage. And twice a week now, we're sampling at 17 individual sites. And during the time when, after a lot of the schools, colleges had gone on break and then returned, folks had traveled, had let down their guard, not worn masks when they were in crowds. We had little blips in some of those dormitory populations, for example, but we just didn't see that continued. We didn't see the transmission. And again, most of us have either had COVID or been fully vaccinated or both. And I think we're in a very good place right now.
We're joined by Dr.
That was a long ramble. I don't know whether I answered your question, Tyler.
No, you did. We're joined by Dr. Russell Faust, the Chief Medical Officer at the Oakland County Health Division, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. You can learn more information and keep up to date on COVID-19 from the Oakland County Health Division by visiting civiccentertv.com/coronavirus and clicking on our Oakland County link, which will take you directly to their COVID-19 specific webpage where you can learn more information about COVID-19 in Oakland County, as well as vaccinations and booster shots, should you still be in the need of either at this moment in time. So, Dr. Faust, what are some of the other lessons that the medical community has learned from managing this crisis for these past 2 years plus, and how does that help to inform other minor medical crises that may pop up in the years to come, or the next great crisis like a COVID-19 situation that we could have in the future?
Thank you. I love that question, Tyler. We've learned quite a bit. We've learned to be prepared. The last government regime basically had dropped the ball, and many of our warehouses that should be stocked with masks, gowns, gloves, etc., just weren't. And we're well stocked now, nationally. The other thing is, right now, all of the local health departments are pretty well-oiled machines now that they've been doing this for 2 years with regard to testing and vaccinating. The outreach clinics, they're just so good at it now that I think we're well prepared for the next epidemic or pandemic, as long as we, we maintain our readiness. I think we're certainly in a better position now. And I do want to emphasize that I'm grateful that the CDC at the federal level and state level has established this national network of collaborative labs and water resource commissions and public health teams to monitor wastewater. And already we're beginning to apply that to other viruses and other emerging pathogens that, we're just seeing kind of pop up now. We're beginning to apply these methods to keep the public safe. So I think a lot of good has come out of this.
So let's go into more detail on the wastewater testing. How does that testing then inform the next actions that are being taken by a health department, whether it be Oakland County, surrounding areas, or in a partnership between tri-county areas or at a state or regional level?
Sure. Well, the big benefit with regard to SARS-CoV-2 that causes COVID-19, the big benefit is that when we as we become infected, actually excrete in our stool, in our wastewater, we actually excrete viruses or particles of the virus that are detectable through testing. And the wastewater, prior to actually becoming clinically infected, that is manifesting the infection symptoms, and prior to us shedding virus, respiratory virus droplets. So the beauty there is that when we see that upsurge in virus and wastewater, we know that clinical cases are beginning to develop. And what we've been doing is monitoring wastewater in various congregate living facilities, dormitories, for example, and going in, testing everybody, finding the 2 or 3 people that are infected early and isolating them before they're able to transmit to everybody else and stopping an outbreak. So I think that's the model moving forward. Not all viruses have that kind of life cycle or presentation. But for those that do, the other coronaviruses and many other viruses, that's a good model. And I think the other value is that, as you point out, those collaborative teams, those partnerships moving forward have streamlined this process. And again, we are applying this to other hepatitis viruses, other coronaviruses, rather respiratory viruses, and some of the other emerging pathogens. And be happy to talk about that sometime, but that would take more than we have today.
We're joined by Dr. Russell Fauci, Chief Medical Director over at the Oakland County Health Division, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. More information on our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. You click on the Oakland County link. It'll take you to the Oakland County Health Division's COVID-19 webpage, so you can learn more information about what they're doing to prevent the spread of COVID-19, to combat COVID-19 cases that are in Oakland County, as well as information on where you can get vaccinated or get your booster shot locally in the Oakland County area. civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. Right there at the top of the page, CDC, NDHHS, Oakland County is the third to the right at the top of that page. Dr. Faust, as we've seen more variants pop up, it seems like the last couple variants, Omicron and even Delta, have been more highly transmissible, not necessarily producing stronger symptoms or a greater chance of negative symptoms. That's probably
more severe disease.
More severe disease. Has kind of been the trend. It was what was seen more with Omicron. It's what's been seen with the BA2 subvariant of Omicron. As you and others on the scientific side of things in battling this pandemic are looking at COVID-19 as it continues to vary over time, is that kind of what's being imagined as these future variants are going to continue to be? They're going to be more easily spread, but maybe not be as deadly until we reach a point where we have seasonal uprisings of COVID-19 cases, but they're not at a point where they are at pandemic proportions that are overwhelming hospitals.
I think that's a pretty insightful question, Tyler. So the variants, every active infection is basically a factory of additional mutations. This is a mutating RNA virus. So every active infection produces more variants. The only variants that really survive or catch on and are transmitted are those variants that are more easily transmitted than the existing variant that's kind of spread through the population. So in order for a variant to really take over, you really can only do so by being more easily transmitted. Stickier, stick to the receptors a little bit better. There are many, possible mechanisms to be more transmissible. But yeah, I think moving forward, that's what we can expect. And I think as across our communities, the level of immunity is maintained or increased either through continued vaccination, as we do for influenza, or through natural or native immunity by being previously infected. I think moving forward, what we'll see is more easily transmitted variants, but less severe disease. And in fact, we see that right now. We're seeing transmission in the community at low, we're still in low level transmission, but we still see cases. But the difference is they're not filling our hospitals as they did, a year ago. They're just not filling our hospitals. And when this is the number I check on a daily basis, because this really gives us an insight into how well we're doing in the community, is how many cases are in our hospitals. And it's extremely low. It's very reassuring. But I think you're correct. That's what we can expect.
And so, Dr. Faust, earlier on you mentioned that we're not at the point where COVID-19 is endemic. We are at a very low spread of COVID-19 in comparison to the past. The community spread isn't as severe as it has been. It continues to trend further toward going down. And then maybe this is a more complicated question than simply at a county level, and I know it is because this is a pandemic. It's worldwide. Where is that point where the scientific community, where the medical community would be able to properly declare something like COVID-19 to be reaching an endemic viral spread?
Yeah, that is a very complicated question, or the answer is very complicated. And I think there's a fair amount of disagreement among the medical and scientific community for what that trigger is, what that threshold is. What do we need to reach in terms of level of transmission? But I think really a lot of it has to do with the lethality of this virus. And so, the World Health Organization is still saying that we're still a way off from COVID-19 being endemic, but really the pandemic is not only the global aspect of this, many countries involved, but also the rapid growth of transmission and infection. We're really kind of coming out of that pandemic phase. And I think if we continue to be plateaued or kind of downtrending as we hit next fall, I think it will be reasonable to consider ourselves out of an emergency or pandemic kind of phase. Perhaps not technically endemic, according to all the medical scientists, but I think that would be a great milestone. I think beyond that, I think we'll have little epidemics of geographic clusters of infections and outbreaks. But I think we can all look forward to that time.
Dr. Faust, before we let you go, anything else at this time that would be important for people in Oakland County to be keeping front of mind on the COVID-19 front or other things medically in the community?
Yeah, two things. And thanks for asking. Really, if you haven't gotten your flu shot, get your flu shot. If you are co-infected with SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19, and influenza, your mortality risk goes up more than 6 times being infected by either one alone. You don't want to be infected with both. So get your flu shot. And the second thing is make sure that you're optimally, maximally vaccinated against COVID-19. We're out to a second booster now for eligible populations, but check the website, see where you are, get your second vaccination, get your booster if you qualify, get your second booster if you qualify, and stay healthy.
Dr. Faust, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Tyler.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried when I did get home that he wouldn't know who I was. Being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary, and if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
A message from the staff of Michigan's Crime Victim Compensation Program.
Anyone can be a victim of crime
and suffer lasting trauma, physically, emotionally, and financially.
But you are not alone.
If you're struggling financially due to a crime,
we're here
for you.
Find out if you qualify for crime victim compensation.
Call 877-251-7373 or visit michigan.gov/crime-victim.
A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Victim Services.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
you see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanted to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Welcome to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. You're watching and listening to us on a variety of different stations, including your radio homes for the program 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. You can learn more about the program and everywhere that we broadcast live and live to tape, and find us on demand on civiccentertv.com/megacast. You'll find information on all of our stations, including My Michigan TV, otherwise known as My. Well, the warmer seasons are soon to be upon us, and as that happens, many will be traveling up north to Grand Traverse County to be visiting the bustling metropolis of Traverse City. We have a preview video for you of some of the many different experiences you can take in this spring, summer, and fall in Traverse City, Michigan.
Sunrise paints these cherry-colored clouds, wakes the earth, shining rays out on the ground. Brings to life a town below the base, where there's great food and better people. Everyone's a friend, all are welcome. Where the compass ends, so raise a toast to one more day. I feel it calling me, it's drawing me in. I feel it calling me, it's drawing me in. Take me there, take me where it's pushing, pulling me along. Takes me slow, my heart is full. Everything's right from wrong. Smiles dancing, sun and snow. Nothing ever looks so pretty on my mind, oh my. Take me there to Traverse City. I'm dreaming of a paradise, and mine is in the north. This feeling brings me back, always wanting more. Close my eyes, and the moments and memories always make me smile.
Joining us now on the Megacast is the Public Relations Manager for Traverse City Tourism, Mike Kent, as we head into the warmer seasons of the year, and people all across Michigan, the Midwest, and more make their way to Traverse City. Mike, thank you for being with us.
It's my pleasure.
Appreciate having you on. So, as we get ready for the summer season and spring season and then the summer season, recently, can you talk about what's changed about Traverse City in recent years and over the past several decades that makes it an attractive city to visit in Michigan for those that are going on tourist opportunities from either within Michigan or outside of Michigan as travel comes back this warmer season.
Doesn't that video put you in the mood to just want to get out and do something, Tyler? And quite frankly, if you could see what I'm looking at right now with the blue sky, Grand Traverse Bay being incredibly blue right now, that I think would want to have you up here. And you really can't look at what's new in Traverse City without, first of all, looking at what's renewed in Traverse City. There's a couple events that have been either pared back or not happening because of COVID over the last couple of years. So one of the big ones that a lot of your viewers, listeners are aware of is the National Cherry Festival. So, it's 8 days around the 4th of July, and it is back full steam this year. And that means the Blue Angels are going to be here. And whenever the Blue Angels are going to be here, it's an incredible show that brings literally hundreds of thousands of people to the region to watch the shows. And it's worth every bit of it, too. So Cherry Festival is back with its parades, with its food tasting, and, of course, cherries. They're going to be here, too. And then just recently announced that the film festival, Traverse City Film Festival, is going to be back, and that's July 26th through 31st. So that hasn't been around for a couple of years, again, because of COVID. And they're going to be back with over 40 films. A very popular event is they set up a huge screen in the open space overlooking Grand Traverse Bay. And they, no charge to go to that. It's all open. Incredible sound system. You take your family down there, grab a lunch or dinner rather, and eat in the open space and watch films. So that's back again this year. And the other thing that is back again this year is the Ironman race. The Bayshore race is back this year. Ironman is in Frankfurt in September. So there's a lot of things that have been either pared back or put on hold over the last couple of years, and I'll tell you, the place is filled with excitement because of that coming back. And I've been doing travel shows in Chicago, DC, and Dallas. There is a noticeable excitement with people wanting to get back. And people in your area especially, this is an area that is very well known to the people that are your listeners and viewers. And there's an excitement about traveling again.
Yeah, it's really a lot of exciting events there in Traverse City over the summer especially, but even in the spring and in the fall, a lot to do up there, a variety of different things that you can do. You got a city for those that like to be in a very active and upbeat environment. You have, of course, beautiful beaches and landscapes and beautiful nature for those that like to engage in nature during the warmer seasons in Michigan and more. And you mentioned the Traverse City Film Festival. I was there in 2017, after graduating from Michigan State with their Theater to Film project, which always premieres those and other short films also at the Traverse City Film Festival every year. And so it's a really interesting event. It's a really fun event to see great filmmaking from Michigan and from the region in an interesting environment as well. And so you mentioned the excitement that these different that people are having to get back out to these events and get back out and having fun in the community in Traverse City. What about those that are planning these events? Because for them, they've been off for a year, maybe even 2 years, maybe even more, without planning these events, without executing these events. Now that they're also back, how are they preparing this year as opposed to previous years as they get ready for these events that draw in so many people?
Well, especially if you take a look at the last couple of years, there was so much uncertainty, and I speak as somebody who is one of an organizer of event in this area. And up until the last minute, you don't know if the event was going to go on. And I think there is enough positive affirmation that, we're not out of the COVID woods yet, but, things are looking pretty good and pretty safe. This is an area too, Tyler, that you have to understand, one of our main economic drivers is tourism and travel to this area. So this area learned very early on and very quickly that safe travel is absolutely critical. And what's happened over the last couple of years, we had like 1.7 million visitors to Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore. It was a record. Well, why is that happening? Well, part of it is pandemic driven because nobody's closing the trails. Some restaurants might have closed, but nobody's closing Lake Michigan. Nobody's closing the beaches. Those are all still open, or were all still open over the last couple of years, and people needed to get away and needed to feel safe. So what did they do? They came up here, they used the beaches. We have some, incredible facilities. And, Sleeping Bear Dunes, you say, okay, they had 1.7 million visitors. That's a lot of people for a town of, about 19,000 in Traverse City. And yet it's such a large expanse that you can still find that isolated beach to get away, and there's nobody going to be around. If you want to go on the dunes climb, there's going to be a lot of people there at Sleeping Bear. But if you're looking to get that remote place that's out of the way, that your family can grab a sandwich and go out to the beach, it's there. And that's a lot of what we were seeing last year. And when you talk about the people who are planning things for this year, there's tremendous excitement about it because they put their heart and soul into planning these things, and it doesn't come to fulfillment unless people show up. Well, this year people can show up.
More information on TraverseCity.com. Learn more about everything going on in Traverse City this spring, this summer, and this fall, and all throughout the year. Again, that's TraverseCity.com. We're joined by the Public Relations Manager for Traverse City Tourism, Mike Kent, on the Megacast. Again, TraverseCity.com is their website. And Mike, I'm often told by people that after watching this show, they really could use a drink. And coming up on May 1st, it begins Michigan Wine Month, and Traverse City Uncorked is one of those events that is celebrating Michigan Wine Month. It begins May 1st. In Traverse City. Can you tell us about that event and how people visiting the city can enjoy Michigan Wine Month?
First of all, we got to assume that their needing a drink has nothing to do with you. Is that right, Tyler?
I assume it has everything to do with it. Deal with me for 2 hours a day.
This area has over 40 wineries that are part of Traverse Wine Coast. There are 2 AVAs, which are designations for wine regions in this area. One is the Leelanau Peninsula. The other is the Old Mission Peninsula. And that's all part of Traverse Wine Coast. So May is Michigan Wine Month, and we produce about 60% of Michigan wines in these 2 AVAs, these 2 regions. And this is our way to celebrate Michigan wine. It's going on all month long. So it starts actually May 1st and runs through the end of the month. And it's a mobile passport that you just put it on your phone. And it gives you, and right now there's over 20 wineries that are a part of this. So it gives you incentives, it gives you discounts on either wine tasting or bottles of wine. And also you stay at any of the hotels and you can register to win a Traverse City wine themed weekend. It is our opportunity to show to the public the amount of craftsmanship that goes into area wines. The wine industry has been going on for over 40 years when somebody had this great idea of let's get rid of some cherry trees and put some grapes. And all the other farmers said, you're nuts, but it's grown into just a phenomenal wine region on the same parallel as Bordeaux, France, and some of the top wine producing areas throughout Europe. And what is happening is you have got a moderating climate as a result of Lake Michigan and Grand Traverse Bay that becomes perfect for the production of wines in the region. So what we have are a group of wineries that are now producing highly acclaimed wines that are winning all kinds of competitions around the country. And the Traverse Wine Coast opens up those opportunities to taste the craftsmanship that goes into these wines. And while you're at it, enjoy some absolutely spectacular views of the region and the lakes and just the whole environment that this region has for the winery industry that's going on here. So it's our way to celebrate Michigan wines. It's all easily accessible. You go to 5 different wineries that are part of the passport, and you're eligible for a Traverse City Uncorked shirt or other wine items like the Traverse City wine glass or a corkscrew. And so it's just a little added incentive for people to come on up, try out the wines and see what the craftsmanship is when you taste them. And they're spectacular. That is, to me, as a person that handles public relations and I deal with sommeliers and wine writers literally from around the world, that is, I think, one of our biggest stories of the last 5 years, and probably will be for the next 5-10 years, because of what is happening with the climate right now. The caliber of the wines in this region are just getting spectacular recommendations from around the world.
We're joined by Mike Kent, the Public Relations Manager for Traverse City Tourism, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information on their website. That is traversecity.com. Traversecity.com for more information on everything happening in Traverse City over the next several months and all throughout the year. Mike, you mentioned earlier on the beautiful waters just outside your window there in Traverse City. For those that enjoy being on the water over the summer and enjoy water-related activities and events, what are some things along those lines that people can enjoy in Traverse City in the upcoming months?
Anything having to do with the water is here. Okay, so you've got a number of tall ships. We had a new tall ship cruise that started just last year. That's the Wind Dancer. The crew here at Traverse City Tourism went out on it last year. What a spectacular evening! You know, it was the weather was perfect. They serve up a locally sourced gourmet dinner, and there are other opportunities. There's a school ship for kids to learn and appreciate what's going on with the ecology of the Great Lakes and appreciate what we have here with this spectacular, and it's not just Traverse City and Lake Michigan, everything that we have with the Great Lakes is phenomenal and needs to be cared for, needs to be taken care of. And so there are opportunities for that. But it's everything. Taylor, it's everything from kayaking to stand-up paddleboards to, have you ever heard of an e-foil?
I've not, no.
It's a propeller driven like an SUV, a stand-up paddleboard, only it goes above the water and you're kind of elevated above the water. It's never been on it. That would probably not be safe, but they look incredible. Those are here and classes on that. And then don't forget there is Great Lakes fishing, charter boat fishing. There is, take advantage of the rivers and the inland lakes that we have here, and fly fishing. We're getting into the fly fishing season here real soon. So anything having to do with the water. If you're somebody who has got a family and you want your kids to be with lifeguards and, there's a comfort level with a lot of people around, we've got Clinch Park Beach that's right near downtown Traverse City. And they've got a little waterscape for the kids to play in with the fountains and things like that. Or as I mentioned earlier, if you're looking for that remote beach that nobody knows about except you, it's here, And anything having to do with the water, that is probably our number one attraction. And I just came back from a series of travel shows in Chicago, DC, and Dallas. And one of the big things I say is, we have fresh water. This is not salt water where you go in salt water and you come out and you feel kind of yicky. Yeah. This is fresh water, and you can go swimming in this water and there aren't things that are going to kill you. We don't have freshwater sharks. Yeah. So you can enjoy yourself in the water, and whether it's swimming or taking advantage of stand-up paddleboards or whatever, there's a lot to do here.
Mike, before we let you go, anything else that people should be keeping in mind as they travel to Traverse City this spring, this summer, this fall, and beyond?
Yeah, Tyler, one of the big things that I would encourage is we have so many natural resources here that we can take advantage of. But we also need to appreciate that we have to take care of it. Little things like, we're getting into the hatching season for the piping plover, which is an endangered species of beach birds that especially hang out around Sleeping Bear Dunes. And there's not many of them in the world. And you have to protect the environment. So that means if you're out on a hike, and we encourage people to do that, but you've got dogs, make sure your dog's on a leash, because the biggest endangerment to the piping plover is just that, dogs that are on the beach and they go after the eggs of the bird. So respect the environment, clean up after yourself. I mean, simple little things that for the most part, our guests to this area do just that. they look out over the lakes and they say, this is something that's beautiful, needs to be taken care of. We certainly want it there for our generation, but my grandson, who is 2 years old, I want it for his son and his son's son, and the generations. This is a fragile area that yes, please come up, take advantage of it, enjoy every moment that you can in the Traverse City area, but also take care of it.
Mike, thank you very much for joining us.
Absolutely.
More information on their website, traversecity.com, to learn more about everything happening in Traverse City this spring, this summer, and all the way beyond. We're going to take a break on the Megacast. When we return, we'll be joined by a couple of individuals from the United Way of Southeastern Michigan to talk about volunteerism as we approach wrapping up National Volunteer Month. That's next. This is the Michigan Megacast.
72.7% of high school students get less than the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. This can cause pain, obesity, and can very negatively affect your mental health. When you have a consistent 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day, you get sick less often, lose more weight, and have better relationships with those around you. For more information about the dangers of sleep deprivation, go to sleepfoundation.org. This message is brought to you by the WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
Joining us now is Angela Beckman and Tanya Adair from the United Way for Southeastern Michigan. Angela, Tanya, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Good to have you both with us today. So we'll start with you, Angela. Can you first tell us a little bit about your background and how you got involved with the United Way?
Yeah, so I am a licensed social worker by trade. I'm born and raised in Southeastern Michigan, and I couldn't think of a better way to get involved in the community than working for United Way and getting the opportunity to work with our community partners, our nonprofit partners, and individuals and corporations in the area to really volunteer and get involved in making a difference in our area.
And Tanya, same question for you. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got involved with the organization.
Absolutely. I am a lifelong educator. I spent 25 years in the education arena as a teacher. Starting off as a teacher, I was a high school principal and then chief academic officer for a district out of town, and worked closely with United Way there on many projects. So being able to come to Michigan and serve Southeastern Michigan through United Way, working with partners and school districts and families and providing the necessary resources to assure families are able to thrive was really important to me. So I'm glad to be here. I've been here since 2018.
Angela, going back to you, this April 2022 is the Global Volunteer Month. This week, we're just about to wrap up tomorrow, the National Volunteer Week. Can you tell us about both of those, National Week and the Global Month of Service, and how the United Way of Southeastern Michigan is tapping into that recognition and encouraging volunteerism in Southeastern Michigan?
Yeah, so we are really excited. April is our Global Month of Service, and Michigan just highlighted that as well for the first time this year. We are, as you mentioned, wrapping up National Volunteer Week, which is taking place started April 17th through the 23rd. And so it really is our community really year-round is involved. But a National Volunteer Week allows us to really highlight volunteerism, both for our community partners and the needs that are there, as well as the opportunity for individuals to get involved and recognize those who've been getting involved year-round. So this week we've had a wide variety of activities taking place, from things you could do from home, like packing a kit, or collecting items with your neighbors and friends to donate to a local nonprofit, or going in, helping to serve food at one of our local nonprofits, or packing and delivering food as well. We also have a very exciting this time for the first time this year, working on highlighting and recognizing our volunteers. So we have our volunteer honor roll. So that is also up this week as well. So we do this year round. So this is a great opportunity for us to highlight what those people in our community are doing year round, but really recognizing it during April.
And Angela, just how important is the work of these volunteers to our community organizations like the United Way, but also other organizations that United Way of Southeastern Michigan may partner with or may be adjacently involved with?
Yeah, so volunteers, and as we always say, the time, talents, and treasures that they bring to an organization are crucial to help them achieve things that they might not be able to, things like providing items or services that they might not be able to do because of budgets. And one of the things that we've learned, especially through this pandemic and through the last couple of years, is that we really need to depend on our community and neighbors to help us get through a wide variety of things. And so when you think about helping, it isn't just about our nonprofits and our other organizations, but it's just reaching out to your neighbors and supporting them in ways that's something you can provide them through your time, talents, and treasures that they may need. So everything from just spending time with them, as well as giving of items or supporting painting and beautifying and getting out in the community. You know, it's supposed to be getting warmer here in Michigan. And so there's a lot of opportunities to get out and really come together and beautify the neighborhoods.
We're joined by Angela Beckman, the Senior Director of Engagement at the United Way for Southeastern Michigan on the Michigan Megacast. We're also joined by Tanya Adair, the Chief People, Equity, and Engagement Officer for the United Way of Southeastern Michigan. And so, Tanya, the United Way works with a variety of different groups in Southeastern Michigan, different organizations, certainly different individuals and volunteers that work for these organizations, with these organizations, or in partnership with these organizations. Can you talk about the United Way's focus on engaging the community and with a diverse group of different people, different organizations, and the impact that they can have on Southeastern Michigan?
Absolutely. United Way has served Southeastern Michigan for more than 100 years through all types of crisis situations, large and small. Our mission really is to mobilize the caring power of Detroit and Southeastern Michigan to improve communities and individuals' lives in measurable and lasting ways. We partner with the community-based organizations, providing resources to support children and families that help them to meet their basic needs. We also provide resources to partner agencies and schools to help build a solid safety net for children and families, particularly for those who may be struggling to make ends meet. We live by our motto of give, advocate, and volunteer, mobilizing individuals, corporate organizations, and community partners to provide that safety net to support those in need. Volunteering itself helps everyone. Those who volunteer feel a sense of purpose. When you can come together with friends and coworkers and groups to volunteer, you build that camaraderie while living out a meaningful opportunity to help someone in need. And so we've been doing this work and working with our partners on the ground, and really is just fulfilling a purpose for so many and helping those that are in need. And it's so important, especially now coming through COVID, to make sure that we are helping to rebuild and build back better, as it's explained, all of the resources that's needed for those that are struggling.
And let's continue on that, Tanya, as we are beginning to slowly come out of the pandemic. It seems things are slowing down, case numbers are slowing down, society's kind of reopening and preparing itself for what life after COVID-19 or after the pandemic of COVID-19 at least sounds like. And so as you're working with these organizations, as the United Way for Southeastern Michigan is partnering with these organizations and really working to rebuild those community ties, talk to us about just how important it is to strengthen community engagement in these organizations and just general community engagement, especially coming out of a pandemic.
Absolutely. Especially coming out of a pandemic is right, because we struggled through it and we weren't able to have, as many people that could be in person and volunteer, but we came up with so many other ways that people can volunteer that's not in person, but we also offer in-person opportunities now. But particularly, as I said before, having that sense of purpose, it makes everyone be able to feel like I'm able to help build my community in so many ways. Everyone may not have the dollars to be able to just give towards something that people in need, but you can volunteer. Everyone can volunteer. Everyone can lean in a certain way, whether it's virtual kit making, do-it-yourself kits that we provide an opportunity for, and be able to drop it off at a location, or coming together with your colleagues or friends and family to do a book drive, even to be able to support the education arena and helping kids have books in their hands, to be able to go to Gleaners and do food packing, because there's so much need within our community, within Southeastern Michigan, and so many opportunities for people to weigh in to support those needs. It's important for people to feel like that I'm able to give back in some way.
We're joined by Tanya Adair, Chief People Equity and Engagement Officer for the United Way for Southeastern Michigan. Joining us on the Michigan Megacast, also with us, is Angela Beckman, the Senior Director of Engagement for the United Way for Southeastern Michigan. And so, Angela, as we talk about community engagement and we talk about getting back into society and reacclimating different elements of our society, of our communities in Southeastern Michigan in order to strengthen those communities, especially coming out of several years of division, of isolation. What are some volunteer opportunities that are available if people want to get back involved in the community, want to make a positive impact, especially during the global month of volunteerism on the worldwide level, and even as we wrap up this week for National Volunteer Week here domestically? What are some opportunities available in Southeastern Michigan if people would like to volunteer and help their community?
Yeah, definitely. We have our online volunteer portal, so you can go to unitedwaysem.org, click on Get Involved Volunteer, and we have a wide variety, as Tanya mentioned, everything from in-person opportunities where you can get out into the community, from opportunities to do virtual volunteerism, skill-based volunteerism, donation drives, really is a wide variety of opportunities. That's also, our community partners can go there as well. So not only if our community wants to volunteer, but you're in need of having volunteers at your organization, or you want to provide opportunities for people to come out and support your nonprofit or community organization, you can go there as well. We are also excited as we head into the summer, looking at opportunities to support, as Tanya mentioned, book drives, as well as back to school opportunities. So you'll see a lot of those as well as we think about our little free library program, or back to school and backpacks. So those are the types of opportunities that you can find on our website. And there's a wide variety of ways to get involved. So we definitely encourage that for the first stop shop, they say, for finding opportunities and connecting to get involved in your neighborhood.
And it's also a great resource for finding ways to get involved in your neighborhood, not necessarily in volunteer ways, but just in engaging with the community, getting back into community events that may have a positive impact on the region of Southeastern Michigan or on your specific community. So so Tanya, going back to you, what are some upcoming events that if people are interested in getting back out in the community and they would like to join their friends, their family, their neighbors in Southeastern Michigan, maybe even meet some of these people that they haven't met before because they've been here isolated for a few years with COVID-19 going on? What are some events that are coming up in Southeastern Michigan?
Yeah, as Angela mentioned, there are several that are coming up. One of them is us being able to come together and build little free libraries in communities where books are scarce. That's one opportunity, but you can find so many more on our website, www.unitedwaysem.org, and navigate toward the volunteer section. There are so many different opportunities that will be coming up. You can get together with friends and, as I mentioned before, do a food packing kit. We also will have this summer a backpack kit, packing backpacks for back to school. That will be coming up as well. But there are others that will happen throughout the summer that we want to make sure that you're going to that website and volunteering, signing up to volunteer to be a part of those events.
And Angela, if people want to find more opportunities throughout the year to volunteer in their community, to volunteer in Southeastern Michigan with organizations partnering with the United Way, how can they go about doing that?
Yep, they can go to unitedwaysem.org. They can sign up on our volunteer portal so they can see what they're interested in. You also have the opportunity to kind of create a profile. So as new things get added that meet your interests, we definitely encourage folks to go there. As well as looking at our website, we have our 21-day equity challenge coming up. So that'll be taking place on May 20th through June 17th. And Tanya can speak a little bit more on that as well, but we're really excited about that opportunity. So not only to volunteer, but to get involved and really to learn together as a community as we continue to navigate the world that continues to change.
Yeah, and Tanya, before we let the two of you go today, I would like to give you an opportunity, as Angela said, to talk about the Equity Challenge 2022. It is a 21-day challenge set for May 20th through June 17th. You can sign up for this at United Way SEM, or United Way for Southeastern Michigan, unitedwaysem.org. Tanya, can you tell us about Equity Challenge 2022?
Absolutely. It's 21 days of learning. Everyone is in a different place in their equity journey, and we want to make sure that we are addressing all of those places and spaces where people are. So people can sign up to be a part of the 21-day Equity Challenge. You'll get a daily email providing information just on the inequities that have occurred over time throughout the country, as well as right here in Southeastern Michigan. And then there's a opportunity for Friday roundtable discussions. So each Friday, after you've gone through the emails and read the articles and watched the videos, there's an opportunity to come together on Friday to talk about what you've experienced with many others across the community. Last year, we had more than 5,000 people sign up for the challenge, and each one of those Friday sessions were packed with more than 200 individuals just really engaging in what we've learned, and then making commitments within ourselves to make some changes and to learn more and offer our support and help throughout the community to make sure that we're addressing inequities in a way that is impactful and meaningful to the community. So I'm excited about the 21-day Equity Challenge. As Angela mentioned, it's going to be an amazing experience.
You can learn more information on unitedwaysem.org. If you go there right now, you'll be able, right away when you get there, a pop-up will appear for the 21-day Equity Challenge. It allows you to sign up and learn more information. And then you can keep up to date on everything happening with the United Way for Southeastern Michigan at unitedwaysem.org. Tanya, Angela, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having us.
It's the Great Lakes water. And so what people do ends up in our waterways.
Flushable wipes are just evil. They should be thrown away. They're impossible to destroy, and they can cause significant problems.
One of the main things when you're cooking is to not dump fats, oils, and greases down your drains.
They stick to the sides of pipes. They stick to everything they come in contact with. Don't put it down the sink.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Neighborhood storm drains carry water directly to local creeks and streams. No filters, no treatment.
Storm drains also help reduce street flooding when it rains.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
It is easy to do your part by adopting a storm drain.
Find a storm drain, check it, and clear it every month.
So keep storm drains for rain only.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit, or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Did you know that nearly 3.31 million Americans don't get their annual checkup? Going to the doctor regularly is extremely important and is a crucial factor in maintaining good health. Make sure you are visiting your local doctor often and telling them about any health concerns you have. For more information, contact your local healthcare provider. This message is brought to you by WBHS Digital Media Arts Program at 89.3 Lakes FM.
Welcome back to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. To learn more about the program at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll also find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now is one of nearly 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. Chrissy Cooper is the Marketing and Development Director with the Ronald McDonald House Charities and joins us now on the Megacast. Chrissy, thank you for being with us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So first off, can you tell us about the Ronald McDonald House Charities and its history and who it serves in the Metro Detroit area?
Yeah, absolutely. So Ronald McDonald House Charities in Detroit serves all the families who visit the Metro Detroit area for hospitalizations, healthcare, anything like that at one of our great Metro Detroit hospitals. We partner really closely with those hospitals to make sure that as parents come down and need a place to stay, they know where to find us. So we have a 26-bedroom house that provides a place to stay for all of those families, all of those parents who are caring for children in a hospital. We also have some great family room programs and all different kinds of support systems for those families. We always like to call ourselves their home away from home while they are with their hospitalized child, and we want to make sure that we can relieve as much stress as we can for them. So providing them with a place to stay, with meals, with transportation back and forth from the hospital is a really big thing for us.
So what are the eligibility requirements, if there are any, for those who would like to employ the services of the Ronald McDonald House Charities while their children are hospitalized?
Yeah, basically all you have to do is talk to your social worker, let them know that you'd like to stay at the Ronald McDonald House, and we will set you up. As long as there is space in our house, we will open up a bedroom for any family that is in need of that while their child is hospitalized.
And so what is that process to sign up for these services through the Ronald McDonald House Charities? How long does it usually take before someone that is signing up for these services is then able to stay in some of these different facilities?
We really do our very best to get families in the same day that they request a room. So once you talk to your social worker at the hospital, they'll just get a little bit of information from you in terms of how long you think you might stay, how many people are coming with you to stay, and anything that you might need in your room, pack and plays, wheelchair access, anything like that. And we work really hard, like I said, to make sure that we can get you in the same day or next day, because nobody wants to be sleeping in hospital waiting rooms, and nobody wants to be sleeping in those super uncomfortable chairs in hospital rooms. So if we can get you in the house and get you in a bed, get you home cooked meal, get you in the shower, you're going to feel better, and you're going to be able to help with your child's care a lot better.
We're joined by Chrissy Cooper. She is the Marketing and Development Director with the Ronald McDonald House Charities, joining us on the Megacast. More information in a couple of places. You can either find it on sharedetroit.org by searching for the Ronald McDonald House Charities in their Charities and Nonprofits catalog, or by visiting rmhc-detroit.org. That's rmhc-detroit.org. So where in Detroit is the Ronald McDonald House facility located, where people would be staying? What's the proximity to some of the hospital systems where their children may be inpatients at the time?
We are pretty much right in the center of the DMC campus. So if anybody is familiar with downtown Detroit, we're pretty much in the Midtown area, right off I-75. We are surrounded. I can look out my window and see all kinds of Wayne State and DMC buildings. So we're pretty easy to find. And we have, like I said, transportation that gets families to and from all the hospitals, so they don't have to worry about moving cars, parking, anything like that, because we all know that can be kind of a pain sometimes when you're in Detroit. So we work really hard to make it as painless as possible while you stay with us.
We're joined by Chrissy Cooper, the Marketing and Development Director at the Ronald McDonald House Charities, located in Detroit. More information on sharedetroit.org or on rmhc-detroit.org, which is their direct website, rmhc-detroit.org. So you have many upcoming events. Derby Spring Social at the Detroit Golf Club is coming up, as well as the 21st Annual Vinny's Charity Golf Outing, which will be at the Fieldstone Golf Club in Auburn Hills. Can you tell us about some of these events and how people can participate and help your charity in the process?
Yeah, absolutely. All of our events go straight towards funding our programming here at the house. We're really excited to be doing in-person events again, safely, of course, and as much as we can be. But yeah, our Derby Spring Social is going to be at the Detroit Golf Club. We're going to watch the Kentucky Derby. We're going to have all kinds of great Kentucky Derby themed foods and drinks. We have auctions, raffles, all kinds of fun stuff. And that event is selling out very quickly. So if you would like to join us in your best Derby hat and bow ties, I would suggest visiting our website as soon as possible to join that event. But our golf outing is also a really great day. Fieldstone Golf Club is a beautiful course in Auburn Hills, and that golf outing is it's just a really great day. We play 18 holes of golf. You get breakfast, lunch, and dinner with us, prizes, all kinds of fun stuff. And again, all of the proceeds from these events go directly to funding programming in our house and family room.
And so you also have another really interesting event called Escape to Belle Isle 2022. Can you tell us about that event? What is the Escape to Belle Isle and how can people participate?
Yeah, absolutely. Escape to Belle Isle is our day of races on Belle Isle right here in Detroit. We have a 10K, 5K, 2-mile, and kids fun run that all go on that day on Belle Isle. So that is July 16th. It's a Saturday. And we spend all morning on the island running races, handing out prizes. We get to have some fun with Rory the Lion, with Ronald McDonald, and just bring a great community of runners and people together. Runners, walkers, I always walk it because I am not a runner. But yeah, if you'd like to join us for that, we would love to have you come out and join us for the day. There's all kinds of distances and ways to get registered. So that's always a really fun day as well. Belle Isle is a gorgeous place to run. You get to run all the way around the island, see all kinds of really cool stuff. And then you can spend the rest of the day on the island doing all things Detroit. So that's a great perk too.
We're joined by Chrissy Cooper, the Marketing and Development Director at the Ronald McDonald House Charities, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. Ronald McDonald House Charities Detroit can be found at rmhc-detroit.org. That's rmhc-detroit.org, or by visiting sharedetroit.org, where you can learn more information about the Ronald McDonald House Charities Detroit and nearly 300 other charities and nonprofits, 294 other charities and nonprofits in the Metro Detroit area as well. That's sharedetroit.org. And so, Chrissy, what sort of volunteer opportunities are there available if people want to support the Ronald McDonald House Charities in ways that are not necessarily financial or through attending these events? There are opportunities for them to volunteer and provide their time and their energy to this organization.
Always. We love our volunteers. We are getting back in the swing of having meal volunteers in the house regularly. So that's an option for groups, organizations, families to come in and spend some time cooking in our beautiful kitchen and preparing a home-cooked meal to serve to the families who stay at our Ronald McDonald House. Hospital stays are expensive. Eating out every day is expensive. So we really like to provide meals for our families here in the house. And that's something that is just a special touch that we can provide and that volunteers basically do provide directly to those families. We rely pretty heavily on volunteers for that opportunity. And maybe you have a dish that you are an expert at and you want to come in and share that with someone, we'd love to have you. Maybe you're not a great cook, you're just a novice, but you know how to make grilled cheese sandwiches. Everybody likes grilled cheese sandwiches too. So if you'd like to join us to serve meals in the house, we'd love to have you. Right now we're limited to groups of 6 or fewer, just because we want to make sure that we are keeping our families as healthy and safe as possible. As we kind of navigate the end of this COVID-19 pandemic. But we would love to have you come. You can find all of our volunteer opportunities on Share Detroit or on our website.
I also understand, Chrissy, that if people want to donate, financial donations either through a card or through cash are not the only kinds of donations that your organization takes. They also take cryptocurrencies. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, we do. That's something that we just started at the end of last year. It's starting to become this really big thing, right? Cryptocurrency is it's a volatile currency, obviously, but it's something that is really popular. And we wanted to just make sure that as people have options on ways that they can hold currency, use currency, spend, that we could take that as an option. Our board members came together and we have some that are really active in cryptocurrency communities. And they said, they're a very generous community. People with cryptocurrency want to give, and they want that opportunity. So we wanted to be the place that they could do that. It's been a really cool experience so far. I'm learning a lot about it. And we've made some really great friends in those cryptocurrency communities that want to do everything they can to support our families and support the kiddos. So we're pretty excited about it. It's a whole new world for us, and we're excited to be able to offer that as a donation option.
We're joined by Chrissy Cooper, the Marketing and Development Director at the Ronald McDonald House Charities, Detroit, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information in a couple of places. You can find them on sharedetroit.org, where you can also find 294 other charities and nonprofits in the Detroit area supporting a number of different people in a number of different ways on their website, sharedetroit.org, or by going to the Ronald McDonald House Charities Detroit's direct website, rmhc-detroit.org. That's rmhc-detroit.org to learn more. Chrissy, at this time, there are many different ways people can help the organization. At this time, what are the greatest needs that your organization has, and how can the community help you fulfill those needs?
One really great way to keep track of our top needs and the ways that people can help are to follow us on social media. Our Facebook and Instagram pages post pretty weekly on our greatest needs in the house. We have an Amazon wish list that you can purchase from and ship directly to the house. We always like to say everything that you use in your house, we use times 26 in our 26 bedrooms and 26 families that we house. So as you can imagine, we go through cleaning supplies, paper towel, silverware pretty quickly. So anything that you can help provide to us is just so appreciated. Yeah, and we post all of those things on Share Detroit as well. So if you check out the Share Detroit website and search for us, you'll be able to see our wish list, our volunteer opportunities, and all that great stuff.
Again, you can find more information on the Ronald McDonald House Charities Detroit by visiting Share Detroit's website at sharedetroit.org, where they are one of 295 charities and nonprofits in the Metro Detroit area that you can learn more about on that website. Go to sharedetroit.org, scroll down just a little bit at the front of their page, click on Find Nonprofits, and then in the search bar you can search for Ronald McDonald House or Ronald McDonald House Charities Detroit to learn more information. You can also visit their website at rmhc-detroit.org. Chrissy, before we let you go, anything else that our audience should keep in mind about the Ronald McDonald House Charities Detroit or other topics we haven't discussed today?
I just want to make sure that everybody knows any family is eligible to stay with us as long as your child is hospitalized in a Metro Detroit area hospital. We have no distance requirements, no income requirements, anything like that. We just want to make sure that you have a safe place to stay while your child recovers in the hospital. And anyone who wants to volunteer, donate to us, we'd love to have you. We'd love to give you a tour of the house. If you're ever in Detroit, you want to stop by and check it out, please be sure to reach out, and you can come see all the great things that we do here. Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it. Thank you for joining us as well, Chrissy. We're going to wrap up today's edition of the Megacast. That is going to do it for today's program. I want to thank everybody that did join us on this edition of the Michigan Megacast and the Oakland County Megacast. Of course, Chrissy Cooper, the Marketing and Development Director with the Ronald McDonald House Charities Detroit, Angela Beckman and Tanya Adair from the United Way for Southeastern Michigan as well, Mike Kent from Traverse City Tourism, Dr. Russell Faust from the Oakland County Health Division, and Wendy Bice, the Interim Executive Director of the Society of Adult Retirees, joining us on the Megacast today. All of those organizations that joined us, every individual that joined us, all those interviews can be found on our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast. We usually have them posted sometime mid to late afternoon so that you can stay up to date on everything you need to know all around the state of Michigan and all these interesting interviews with us. If you're not able to join us for the full 2-hour program every day, or you only have certain interviews and certain topics that are of interest to you, you can find all those on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast. We'll also learn more information about all of our partnering TV, radio, and web outlets that join us each and every day for our full 2-hour program. We also highly encourage you to go to our coronavirus page at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. There at the top of the page, we have links to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and the Oakland County Health Division's COVID-19 specific web pages, so you don't have to scour the entire internet for up-to-date information and accurate information from people who know what they're talking about. You can go directly to their websites by going to our website at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus and clicking on those links. You can also, below those links, find articles making headlines all across the state of Michigan about COVID-19 and more each and every day before our live programs Monday through Friday at civiccentertv.com/megacast. You click on the link, you click on the thumbnail of those articles, and you can read them in full as well as their supporting materials. And while you're there, if you have the means to do so, highly encourage you to subscribe to these different publications and support local journalism all throughout the Great Lakes state. Big thank you to our crew as well that make this program possible each and every day. Calvin Brown, our technical director, with me for the full 2-hour program each and every day here in our studio. Larry Nyland, the king of television, our producer, booking all the guests, helping them and us prepare for informative conversations 5 days a week. Jared Clark, who is our Zoom producer out at the office of My Michigan TV in the bustling metropolis of Troy, Michigan, and Maddie Mustian at Master Control, helping us on and off the air. On My Michigan TV, coming up next is Steve Lado Live, followed by Larry and Maddie Live. Will return Friday at 10 a.m.